It's been a lifelong dream of mine. I've said since I was 4 I wanted to represent my country. And
I mean, playing for the Matildas, playing for your country is, without a doubt, yes, some of the proudest moments of my life.
Getting to play in a World Cup on home soil in front of friends and family, there's nothing more special than that. From what my parents have told me, I started at the ripe age of 4, so I was pretty young when I got into it. My older brother, who's 3 years older than me, Lachlan, he played with his school friends, and my parents basically stated that I just kept running on the field. I was being a nuisance, so they said, why not throw her in and give her a go? And ever since the day I played it, I've loved the game and never really looked back from that point on. And when I was that young, I was probably 6 or 7 at the time, and I said to my parents, and they said, you honestly didn't crack a smile, you didn't laugh or anything, you were just like, I really want to play for the Socceroos one day, Mum and Dad. And they had a bit of a chuckle because they knew that that wasn't likely that I could represent my country with the men's national team being a female, but that's been instilled in me since I was that young to represent my country at the highest level. And I was quick to learn that there is a female team, and ever since then I've never looked back.
But I actually, just like Remy, I actually thought that I could play for the Socceroos. I actually thought that I would play for Arsenal, men's, and I thought that I would play in the Men's World Cup. So I didn't play in the Men's World Cup, but I certainly got to the Women's. Gosh, where did I wear that one? Possibly in China in 1988. This is the World Cup 95. As you can see, it's a men's cut, and it's actually large. World Cup 99, the first time they actually produced a women's cut in football. And this is obviously the Olympic Sydney 2000 with all those legends. There's our second FIFA World Championships for women's football, Sweden, 1995. That's pretty. When I got it, I was just like, oh, I have to get all the dust off that. Yeah, well, I started off my footballing career in the US actually, and my father had work over there with the Australian Embassy, so I started off playing just in this little team called the Red Rockets in Virginia, just outside Washington DC, and then moved on to select boys team and then a select women's team or girls team. I came back, I think I must have been 12 and went straight into the senior women ACT side, I think when I was probably 13. Fred Robbins was my first Australian coach, the former Queensland coach. And I had an opportunity to actually get on the pitch. My mum came over with me as well. It cost an absolute fortune to go to New Zealand, which obviously the girls don't have to worry about that anymore. I mean, I think it was in the thousands of dollars. I remember I got a cracked cheekbone in my game against the New Zealand B side. The goalkeeper flattened me in the penalty box. So we got a penalty and we obviously won that game.
It was just the biggest honour. You have been named in the squad as one of the best young players coming through and getting to represent your country at the highest level, which is something not many people get to fulfill as their all-time dreams. So for me, it was a huge dream come true, and it was a huge honour, and it's not something I took lightly. I think wearing the green and gold it's not a given. It's not something that you should take for granted. It's something that you should be really proud of, and I can tell you now that I hope that one day I can crack into the full national team squad. That's my ultimate dream. But yeah, it was a huge moment for me.
You look at me, I was 15. You never ever lose faith. You just got to be a sponge. I was a sponge my entire life. When we went to the Pilot World Cup in China in 1988, one of the greatest events and times of my entire life. I don't even think we got brand new strips or anything like that. Some of the players had to literally cut the sides up because they were too tight, or sew. I had my soccer shorts sewn on the sides because I was like, I could have taken off at any moment because they were so balloony. It was playing against players like Heidi Storr, who was, in my mind, 10 foot, but I think she's only 6 foot. And I actually had to mark her, which seems pretty ridiculous, but I did my best, that's all I'll say. And of course, that's when we first beat Brazil 1-0. Janine Riddington chip over the keeper to win 1-0 was, I mean, that would have to go down in history as one of Australia's greatest goals.
I think I've dreamt of that moment since I was really young. I got to do it, like I said, with the under-20s national team, and that was one of my proudest moments I've ever had. And, you know, my family were over the moon when I was named in that squad and got to do 3 campaigns with the under-20s national team. And, you know, it's something that I really miss. I loved representing my country, and I'm going to be working extremely hard to make my ultimate dream of playing for the national team, for the Matildas, a reality. And I think that would be the most special moment, is getting to debut not only for your national team, but even so getting to play in a World Cup on home soil in front of friends and family. There's nothing more special than that.
It was an emotional sort of roller coaster. Olympics on home soil, playing with some of my best friends, that's Sunny Hughes, Ish and Heather and that. So, and Shorty, in the first game against Germany, home soil, Bruce Stadium, in front of my family, just picked up a ball that bounced up high and went to take off past the centre midfielder and tore my hamstring, and just went down like I'll just say sack of potatoes, and just sort of instantly knew then. I felt that I could have had, I could have probably come back maybe if we'd made it into the second round. But yeah, bittersweet. The sweet part was watching my best friend score the most amazing goal in Olympic history, men or women, male or female. Yeah, what can I say? I was devastated, and I don't think you really necessarily get over that, but you know, I've learned to live with it, and that was effectively my last game for Australia, and then just pretty much withdrew myself from football for a while. So that was kind of a rubbish time of my life.
I think, you know, my under-20s friends are some of my best friends, and we have a lot of us are turning 21 this year. I know that we're all coming to each other's birthdays. We really built almost a small little family, and I think that that's so important for team camaraderie, and to get the best out on the field, I think you need to have really good relationships off, and I can tell you now that some of my best friends are my soccer friends. So you've got so many things in common, and we're all working towards that same goal, and I think we really push each other on and off the field to get the best out.
I mean, the facts don't lie. So when you're looking at the Matildas, when you're looking at the US women's national team, you can't sit there and say that their women aren't great at football, technically, tactically, and physically. So we're kind of like the whole package. I mean, the Matildas making the Women's World Cup almost seems like it isn't a big deal anymore. But winning the World Cup bid is truly something. And obviously to have New Zealand involved is a sensation. We all love New Zealanders, except when we play against them.
I got goosebumps actually, and seeing the footage of the Matildas that were there, jumping up with joy. I think it's something that women's football has been working towards for so long, especially in Australia, and I think that this is going to help the women's game grow significantly. And I think that everyone was so excited when we saw that we won the World Cup bid, and what better landscape to come to than Australia and New Zealand. They're beautiful countries, and
it's goosebump material over and over and over and over again.
I think it's absolutely amazing. You've seen the rise of the Matildas. I think they've always been such an amazing group all throughout the decades. You see people like Cheryl Salisbury, Sam Kerr, Caitlin Ford, Emily Van Egmond, the list goes on and on. You see all these players working so hard in and out, and now playing at those big clubs over in the WSL. It's amazing to see how far women's football has come, and you can see the growth in the sport, and you can see how excited not just young girls are, but young boys are that we've got a home World Cup in 2023. It's really boosted the women's game, and
I think it's enormous. It's I think women's football has literally changed the sporting landscape for women's sport in Australia. And I don't say that lightly, because we have all of our women's teams are brilliant. With some of the stances that the Matildas took a number of years ago, it actually just set the scene and the standard and the expectation.
I think it's just super exciting, and it's great to see that there's female athletes as such big role models. They're great people as well, so it's easy to see them and be inspired by people like that.
And also because we just don't dive and roll around the place. We're very raw and real, honest, truthful, except maybe a couple of countries, but we won't go there. Great opportunity that is like this close for Remy, you know what I mean? So World Cup here, W League is just getting better and better and better and better. Get yourself overseas, maybe.
I know that the girls at Sydney, and as well as a lot of my friends that are in the W League, are so happy that the season's going ahead, and I just want to, play my best football and improve week in and week out, and I think we really have a strong team. Individually, I would just like to grow and improve both on and off the field, and give myself every opportunity and chance to put my best foot forward to Tony Gustafsson and, hopefully make that dream a reality. And
of course I wish I was playing now, but I would never ever replace it for what I had. First and foremost, because every player that played at that time and then before us were sort of paving the way, and you can't take away from the love and passion and how you actually felt at the time, just because I could have got some money or there's some professional leagues and all that sort of stuff. 2023 will be different, and I'd really like to see them, in that sort of grand final and me there, and obviously a lot of the other former Matildas would love to be there.
Young boys and young girls are excited to be playing the game, and I think that's a really good thing for the future of our football here in Australia and New Zealand. So I love it. I get a lot of nostalgia thinking back to my grassroots football, because I fell in love with the game at that age, and I haven't swayed from that. So it's going to be exciting, and I think the future is in good hands with the young ones starting out even earlier now.
I'd suggest, if anyone wants to do anything in their life, that they aspire to score a goal in the World Cup. or 2 or 10. Yeah.